Welcome to episode 76 of the Epic Classroom Podcast. I'm Trevor Muir, and this is where we explore how to make learning meaningful, dynamic, and transformative. Epic, so students don't just get through school, they thrive because of it. All right, everybody, this is such an exciting episode, but I'm going to start with a little story first. My daughter goes to an elementary school, and every time I go there to volunteer or to check her out, or whatever reason, when I'm in the front office, I'm always greeted by a big, beautiful golden retriever named Chase, and I love him. He's like this big, blocky-headed, blonde golden retriever, and he's sweet and loving, and everybody is obsessed with Chase at this school. I mean, everybody. My daughter talks about how there's incentives, like if your behavior's good enough for an amount of time, you actually get to go and spend special time with Chase. And there's just so many ways that I could tell you how much I love this dog and what it's done for my daughter and her friends at her elementary school. And so today we have a special guest on the podcast. I'm joined by Laura Schuler, who has helped make dogs like Chase possible in our school district. And I really just want to have a conversation with Laura about programs where dogs are a part of school so they can bring joy like they do to kids. And so if you're listening to this, maybe you can even brainstorm or think about ways that you could do it in your own school. So Laura, thanks so much for joining me for this conversation.
Thanks for having me, Trevor. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah. So what was the moment or experience that made you think we need therapy dogs in our school?
Oh, man. It goes way back to kind of COVID era.
I remember that.
Yeah. I took a year of absence to homeschool my son. And as I was thinking about coming back into the classroom, I saw the changes in students and the changes in even my staff colleagues, what drastic changes there had been through COVID, the way people were interacting with each other, the way students were responding to each other and to teachers. And I just had to stop and think, like, what else can we do? How can we improve our school cultures for everybody on a extremely limited budget? We, as much as we would love, full-time school counselors and social workers and the whole gamut in every building, that's not always possible.
And like following COVID, like you really did see like this drastic difference in kids.
Yeah.
And I should say that you teach at an elementary school, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And so like, what were some of the big changes that you saw in kids?
I mean, I think reactions to emotions, reactions to other students. Kids were exploding a lot faster than they ever would have before. I think we, have that group of preschoolers or kindergartners that were growing up during COVID. They just have limited interactions with peers and adults, right? They were home with their parents. And
for a long time. And then even when they went back to school, they were wearing masks and they couldn't communicate in the same way.
Yes, exactly.
Distances.
Even, kids 5, 6, or 7 seeing somebody's facial reaction and response. If I act in a certain way or say a certain thing, they couldn't even see your face. They didn't know if you were nervous or happy or if you were laughing. Sometimes it was they didn't know. So all of those interpersonal relationship skills were just lacking.
Yeah.
And I think my colleagues were just burnt out.
Yep.
Teaching during that time, teaching virtually, coming back to the classroom with limitations in space and masks and all of that. The educators carried a huge burden. So I came back after a year off, and it felt like a desert.
Wow.
From the experience that I had known in an elementary classroom, in elementary school, interacting with my own colleagues.
And so where did the golden retriever idea come in? Where did you get this idea for therapy dogs? Is that the correct term, therapy dog?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Correct me.
We can get into that. So
Okay.
This was a huge learning experience. So I was working on getting my administrator's degree during that time. And one of my classes was school improvement. So think of a widespread program that you could implement to improve your school
Yep.
culture, climate, academics, whatever you felt. And
Hmm.
school support dogs just came to the forefront. It seemed so obvious that it was a great way to support kids,
Yep.
to help with emotional regulation. Um, you know, and I'm sure we'll get into this, but dogs are just so approachable and they don't judge anybody.
Yeah.
So any student with any need, any emotion, any heartbreak, any celebration can come to a dog, and that dog is just so thrilled to be with you.
Oh, I just love it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's not like a dog is going to see a kid having a breakdown in the hallway and be like, "Oh, those parents must have not done this last night," or, "Oh, that kid has some form of autism," or that. No, the
Yep.
dog's just like, "I love you."
Yeah, I love you. Please pet me, and I will roll on my back so you can give me a tummy rub.
And as a result, it might lower the temperature a little
Yes.
bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So we did learn a lot.
Do you have your own dog at home?
No.
Oh,
No, I grew
interesting.
up with a big golden retriever.
Mhm.
In the early time of my marriage, before we had kids, we had a dog.
Mhm.
And then once we had kids, we realized it's kind of a lot to manage all of that. So
Tale as old as time. Yep.
yes, no, we have a cat at home, but therapy cats are not a thing. So
Mhm. Yep.
yeah, so we did.
Because they don't care about your feelings as
Yes,
much.
they will not do what you tell them to do.
Mhm.
um, we learned a lot. Therapy dogs, service dogs are very
Mm.
specific. A
Mhm.
service dog, for example, works with one human being
Mhm.
to manage something about that one person. So, of course, we think of like a seeing eye dog. That dog is there to support somebody who's visually impaired.
Mhm.
There are dogs now that are able to kind of sniff out glucose levels for diabetics. So those are support dogs servicing one person.
Yep.
What we needed was a dog that would support 500 people,
Mhm.
a school of 450 kids and the 50 adults in the building as well.
Yep.
And those are specifically called school support dogs,
Mhm.
sometimes school counseling dogs. And they very intentionally are trained for working in busy schools.
Mhm.
One particular skill that they learn is to go into a public restroom, crawl under the stall door, and get into a locked stall in case there's a child in
Yeah.
crisis or,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So very specific school-based skills for these groups of dogs.
So you heard about this type of program or like what kind of benefit can be, and then what? Like, how did you actually make it happen?
Yeah, great.
Because I should also say I go around and work in schools all over the place, and I see more and more of these support dogs in schools, and everybody loves them. And every time I talk about it, people are like, "I want this,"
Yes.
but I have no idea
Yeah.
how to make that actually a reality. I've talked to very few people who would disagree with the effectiveness of it, but a lot of people have no idea how to actually make it happen. Where did that start?
Sure. My brother's a veterinarian, so I kind of picked his brain about this. And the school that his kids go to was starting the process of training a school support dog.
Mm.
So I talked to him about it. What was it like? What was the cost? How is this all going to work? He connected me with a woman named Kim Hayes, who her organization is called Interquest Cares. Um, she worked primarily for a very long time with dogs that she would bring into middle school and high school for drug detection.
Mm.
She still does that work around
Mhm.
the area. But she started to notice what happened when she brought trained dogs into schools
Uh-huh.
and the difference that it would make on students walking through the hallway or how the staff members in the office would interact with the dog.
Mhm.
And so that's when Interquest Cares broadened to also include this work of school support dogs. So Kim still does come into our middle schools and high schools with drug detection and does that program. And she's also our primary trainer for our school support dogs.
Mhm. So was it a tough sell, like to administration, to parents? Because I mean, what are some of the common things that people would have against doing this? Allergies, kids that are afraid of dogs,
Yes.
maybe even parents who don't trust dogs and don't want
Mhm.
them around the school. How did you overcome some of those obstacles?
Sure. So, yeah, parents, their primary concerns are allergies and phobias,
Mm.
and administration's primary concerns are cost and insurance.
Mhm.
So, those are kind of the biggest barriers that we had to face. Thankfully, allergies to pet dander are not life-threatening.
Hmm.
Every school also has to determine a pet-free zone, so dog-free zone.
Okay.
If there are children with severe allergies, especially allergies, those dogs never go into that classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, any interaction with one of these school support dogs is optional. So
Okay.
nobody's required to ever sit and visit with the dog if they don't want to. Many schools have designated zones that the dog never goes to just to make sure that there's not too much dog hair lingering.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that, and we're very blessed by community partnerships, we have a local veterinarian's office that donates grooming 4 times a year
Oh,
for every one of
wow.
our dogs.
In the whole district?
Yes.
Oh,
So
wow.
we have 14 dogs.
Mm-hmm.
This Cascade Hospital for Animals donates grooming 4 times a year for every single dog.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, of course, keeping up with grooming and brushing.
And now, was that an ask? Did you have to ask for that?
Yes.
Okay. And they said yes.
Well, and that piece really then, when we went back to administration and said, hey, we have community partners that are going to donate. So the cost of maintaining these dogs is decreasing
Yep.
with every community partner that we reach out to.
Oh, I love that.
So almost every veterinarian's office within our school border sponsors a dog, which means they offer free routine visits and free routine vaccinations.
Unreal.
And free quarterly grooming as well.
And is that something you coordinated? So
Yes.
so you're the point person for the Pride's pup program, correct?
Yes. So Kim Van Antwerp, who is works in the instruction office, and I
Mm-hmm.
coordinate the program.
Okay. And so you're the one hopping on the phone and calling veterinarians' offices and saying, hey, is there a way you can support this program?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So if somebody wanted to do a program like this, it would help to have a point person that can handle some of those logistics to make it practically happen.
Yes. Especially, I mean, I think we're very, very blessed that we have 14 dogs to support students in our district. So especially as a program gets that large,
yep.
I think having a few people to oversee the program is really essential.
That's great. And then what about, speaking of point people, at each school, is there somebody who cares for the dog outside of school? Can you just tell me about, like, what's the route? All right, when Chase at my daughter's school wakes up in the morning, where does he wake up?
Great question.
Can you just tell me Chase's schedule throughout the day?
Sure. So day in the life of Chase.
Yes, let's hear it.
Chase wakes up at his host family's home.
Mm-hmm.
His host is an employee of the school where he works.
Okay.
So in that case, it's the school counselor. So he wakes up that morning. He's got, human brothers and sisters that he's interacting with, probably has some breakfast. And then the counselor puts on his working bandana that's assigned to him and the public that he's working. So that's his uniform.
Okay.
Puts on his bandana and hops in the car. We require that all dogs wear seatbelts.
There we go. Safety first for puppies.
Safety first. The counselor gets to school. She and Chase walk inside, and she probably brings him directly to his crate.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that kind of point where I'm no longer your person. Now you're going to be working with a different person. Then every school has a handler. And that is the one person who has been highly trained to work alongside the dog. They know all the commands. Most of them come along with like a sign language motion as well. And then from, 8:30 to 3:30, Chase and the handler are just a team working together, walking through hallways, visiting with kids, scheduling visits with students. Like you said, some students are earning reward time to sit and work with Chase. Others, we kind of have our dogs a little bit for crisis mode. So, hey, we have a student whose behavior is escalating. Can Chase come down to the hallway and have a little visit with this kiddo? And then same thing, end of the day, 3:30, his host picks him up from the crate. They prance out to the car, ready for the end of the day, and head home to just be a dog.
And then he's a family dog at home?
Yes.
Without restrictions, like, oh, no, you can't pet Chase, or he's just a dog at home when he's not at work?
The biggest restriction at home is food. It's really important that Pride pups do not get used to any human food. Okay. Because if they're at school and they see human food and they're tempted by it, that can cause a challenge.
So that's also teaching the kids how to behave around these dogs too, then?
Yes. I have to tell you, when we got a Pride pup in our school, when our school support dog worked, our hallways became the cleanest hallways I've ever seen before, right?
Yes,
It
absolutely.
increases student intrinsic motivation. Oh, she can't have Jersey is the dog that works at my school.
Mhm.
She can't eat goldfish crackers. We need to keep the floor clean if she's gonna come visit our room. So,
Yep, that's so good.
yeah.
Oh, I love that. Can you tell me an example, do you have any stories of any of the dogs that you've worked with and how they've helped a kid in crisis?
Yeah, one great part to the program also is when we only had 6, 7, 8 dogs, we were kind of crisis support for the entire district as well. So
Mhm.
there were a couple times last year where there were crises at the high schools and elementary schools would get phone calls, "Hey, we have this situation going on. Could you bring your pride pup up
Oh,
here?"
wow.
And so handlers and dogs would drive up to the high school, kind of uh, position themselves around the building so that students would also have an opportunity to visit with a pride pup during those kind of really challenging days.
Wow, who are the handlers? Are they teachers, counselors,
It
administrators?
ranges. We have a few principals who are handlers.
Mhm.
A lot of school counselors are handlers. We also have some great opportunities where media center specialists are handlers.
Mhm.
And so, one dog named Chevelle, her principal is actually the host. So he's the one who gets to take her home at the end of the day and love
Mhm.
on her. And at school, she spends most of her time in the media center.
Mhm.
So she reads with students. Once students check out books, they can sit by her and read with her. So that's another great opportunity for a handler, unique way to work with a school support dog.
And to pick a handler, is that kind of like an email out to staff saying, "Hey, we're gonna be doing this. Does anybody have a unique interest in dogs that might be interested in learning more?"
Yeah. Yep,
Mhm.
that's a way to start. Who's interested in doing this work? How easily is it for you to incorporate a school support dog into the work that you're doing?
Mhm.
Which I think is why many of our handlers are school counselors. They're
Really?
working with tier 2 type of behavior students who need a little bit extra support, or they're running small groups of students,
Mhm.
whose parents are going through separation
Yep.
or, who may be struggling with big emotions. And so the dogs fit in really well there. But we also have dogs that, like I said, work in the library, see every student every week.
Mhm.
Many dogs sit at the front door at
Mhm.
the beginning of the day. So the first face, really, that students see when they come in the building is the dog and the handler.
Oh, just setting the tone for the
Yes,
day.
it's a
Ah,
great way to increase that welcoming and belonging. Some students will only come to school, oh, I get to see Chase today. I'm
mhm.
there.
Yes. What are some of your favorite breeds, or what type of breeds do we have in our district?
Yeah, we have mostly golden retrievers.
Mhm.
We have a few that are golden retriever lab mixes.
Mhm.
Some of our dogs have come to us from Paws with a Cause.
Mhm.
So those were dogs that were being trained to work singly with one other person, and they found that their personalities were just too friendly. Those
Mhm.
dogs wanted to be with multiple people. They loved just visiting with a variety of people. So then Paws with a Cause works with Interquest Cares and passes the dogs along. Um, they're called career change dogs,
Yes.
which I think is just adorable.
Uh-huh.
So some of our dogs have come that way. Otherwise, Interquest Cares also breeds dogs based on temperament.
Okay.
So we have actually a handful of siblings also within our program. Chase, Rubble, and Kai are 3 brothers that
Okay.
work in different schools.
Ah,
Jersey and Bronx are siblings. Their niece and nephew are Muffin and Bingo. So that's also really cool just to see the relationships there as our
yes.
team grows.
Well, so we're 5 years. So has the program been going for about 5 years? I mean, you said COVID.
So Jersey was our first dog, and that was about 2 years ago
Okay,
that
so
he joined
2
us.
full years. Have you seen results in the way that students are showing up to school? Like you said, reactionary was a big problem following COVID. Have you seen a difference in the way kids interact and engage in school as a result of the program?
Yeah, I think some of those reactionary behaviors are resolving faster
Mm,
than they would have They have that time to sit with the dog. Some students, that's actually their primary source of comfort. So, I fell on the playground, I scraped my knee, I'm in tears. Would you like to sit with your teacher? No, I want to visit with Chase.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Um, it's a little bit tricky to collect hard data
Mm-hmm.
about the work that we're doing, but we do know that many of our dogs are included in PBIS support
Mm-hmm.
systems, so they're offered as rewards.
Yep.
Many students are also have a Pride Pup listed as an element of a behavior support program.
Mm-hmm.
So those are really some hard points of data that we are able to collect. Otherwise, it really is just the it's the feeling when you walk into a building.
Yeah, that's
That
hard to measure,
it's
but you
really hard to
know
measure.
it's there.
Yeah.
Ah, has there been any pushback? Just realistic pushback from the community or educators or students? Like, we don't like this, or what's been the reception to it?
Um, Pushback from some parents, from some community members, from some administration. Whoa, this is a big cost,
Mm-hmm.
and it does this really directly impact our student learning goals?
Mm-hmm.
So there has been some pushback. Again, the allergy and the phobia question, especially for schools that don't have dogs yet, that's a really big concern. But these dogs bring so much joy. One of our principals was very against this whole program
Mm-hmm.
from the get-go. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how we're going to pay for it. I don't know where this dog is going to be. And he is now one of our biggest supporters.
Yeah, so sometimes it's just like, I need you to just experience a bit
Yes.
and listen to stories.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you've had to get good at articulating the purpose of it so that you can share it with
Yeah.
people.
We had one principal recently that told us, and I won't name the school or the dog, but he said that the Pride Pup, based on cost, is one of the most cost efficient, highest impact employees that they have in their building.
Think about that. And so what is the cost? Or not specific numbers, but like what goes into paying for a program like this?
There is the big upfront cost for the dog. So
Mm-hmm.
you're paying for a very highly trained, well-bred dog, which can be around price tag of $10,000.
Okay.
The dog comes completely trained, and then InterQuest Cares, in our case, comes and essentially spends 2 to 3 more weeks training the adults to
Mm-hmm.
appropriately work with the dog. And then after that, it's food.
Mm-hmm.
These guys eat a lot. They're pretty big dogs.
Yep.
Healthcare. And then we have, community partners that are helping
Mm-hmm.
to support that with the veterinarians. One of our biggest concerns, not concerns, our program is continuing to grow. And now with 14 dogs, a question was brought to us. What happens when there's an emergency?
Mm-hmm.
We have 14 dogs. There will be an emergency situation on a weekend. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but a distended something or other, intestines.
Oh, yeah, when
Gonna
it flips and
Yes.
yep.
Or, let's cross our fingers that it never happens, but what if a dog gets hit on a car over the weekend, right? These are
14 dogs at some point,
Yes.
tragedy.
And
Yes.
they're beloved dogs. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just a family pet. There are 450 kids that adore this dog.
Yes.
So that was a big part of our conversation. And that price tag is very large
Mm-hmm.
when you come to a dog emergency surgery or whatever. So
Oh,
that was
we have a puppy, a 14-month-old Australian Shepherd, and we went away for spring break last week. And while we were gone, she got out, and my in-laws are still losing sleep over it. Luckily, she came back, but like, it was devastating when we thought like, oh, we lost her. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you communicate that to 450
Right.
children?
Yep.
It's like and it was also like, oh, she was so expensive.
Exactly.
Like all of this.
Investment.
All of this is really stinging. So yeah, that I never thought about that. Not to mention aging. It's not you're a decade away, but at some point,
Yep.
you're gonna have 14 old dogs.
Yep. So we have to think about retirement at some point as
Mm-hmm.
well. One really special part of the program that we implemented from the beginning, at the point of retirement. So that is when a handler, host, principal, and veterinarian all agree that the dog should no longer work in school.
Mm-hmm.
What then?
Yep.
We have written into our program that the host family can purchase the dog from the district for $1.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it will be able to live its
Wonderful.
retirement years with the host family that has
Mm.
poured into them for all of that time. But, at some point with illness, age, whatever it might be, arthritis, there'll be limitations for dogs. So we are thinking ahead as to when that might happen and how we can move forward after that.
Is there a specific fund in the district that covers surprise costs or even, I mean, just covers the food and all of that stuff? Is that a school budget, a district budget?
Great question. We also have support from Spartan Nash in our
Mm.
community. When a dog launches in a building, they cover all the costs for all the supplies needed for the home and the school.
And just for anybody not from West Michigan, that's a big grocery store chain.
Yeah, big grocery store chain.
And they donate that much to support the program.
Yes.
That's
So it's
great.
usually between $500 and $700 for, a crate for home and school and a food bowl for home and
Mhm.
leashes. They also give a $500 gift card for their grocery stores to purchase dog food.
Mhm.
Another big cost that we have come across is pet insurance. So that is something we require of our Pride Pups, our school support dogs. That doesn't happen in every program, but that will really help the cost if there's an emergency. And our school foundation has paid for that cost. They also
Amazing.
have paid quite a bit. Schools have written grants for the initial purchase of the dog, so our school foundation has also supported the program quite a bit.
Oh, that's awesome. Have you had to do some fundraising as well?
A little bit. We've tried to do some like swag sales with t-shirts and
Mhm.
sweatshirts. So you'll see some kids wandering around with the Pride Pup on their shirt. We also had a really significant donation recently, specifically for an emergency fund from the owners and operators at Family Friends Veterinary Clinic in
Mhm.
town. So we have money set aside in case. We hope we never have to use it, right, for
Yeah.
a significant emergency. But it's there so we can support the dogs and the host as well.
I mean, I'm just so glad you're talking about this because I know there's teachers out there listening that want this in their schools and in their districts. Because, I mean, who's going to deny how beloved a dog can be to a child and the way it can bring them joy and peace and lower anxiety and temperature levels? Like, it's so good. Like, you're doing really good work.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Oh, it sounds like it. And then is this just elementary or does this work in secondary as well, middle, high school?
Yeah, so InterQuest usually starts with high school and then kind
Mm,
of works our way down. We did the opposite, where we got dogs in all of our elementary schools, then our middle schools, and now we have a dog at two of our high schools as well. So we
okay.
have a few buildings without dogs just because it's a process to
Mhm,
get the dogs trained and everything. I think one of the most unique situations we have in our district is a dog named Solo. That's his name because he was the only dog in the litter.
mhm,
Um, and he actually works in our transition center,
okay.
which is for post high school students with special needs who are learning life skills.
Mhm,
And he works there with them. So it
yes.
really does give a different opportunity for those students to practice life skills
Mhm.
with an actual dog in the building.
Oh, I love it. I'm sold. I think everybody would be. Last question for you. What's something this experience, from starting the program to watching it to caring for these dogs to seeing kids in crisis and kids using it as an incentive to all of that this program has been, what has it taught you about kids that you wish more educators understood? What has this taught you about students?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I think it doesn't I it doesn't matter, who you are, age, gender, socioeconomic class, IQ. It
Mhm,
doesn't matter who you are. Um, a dog will love you if you love them.
mhm,
And so we're finding kids of all walks of life and now ages as well, from high school all the way down to junior kindergarten that are just loving and connecting with these dogs. Um, the other thing, and this goes a little away from your question, but the impact that our Pride Pups have had on staff has
mm.
also been incredible. When we set out thinking, oh, this is going to be so great for kids, but this is so great for adults.
Look at that. Wow, and why is that?
I think it's the same, just non-judgmental, a quiet, calm interaction during a very busy day. Teachers, as you know, have just so much on their minds. I got to do my lunch counts. I think I need to change the seating chart. What's this assessment coming up? Oh no, here comes our state assessment. Oh, I need to change my reading groups. So just to have a moment of calm and quiet to visit with a dog who's not judging you,
Mm-hmm.
who's not telling you what to do, who's not asking you to, add another thing to your to-do list, I think just brings a lot of joy to the adults that are in the building as well.
Oh, so good. So if somebody wanted to go start a program like this, where do you begin? What's an organization they should look up, or what would you recommend is the first step?
I think it depends on where you live.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think searching for Interquest Cares could be an option. I know that's significant in Michigan, and I also know that they have work that they're doing in Texas. I also think just maybe Googling, school support dogs and add your state or your town. There may be small programs that are starting around that you might be able to lean into. We've done the same. There are programs with between 10 and 12 school support dogs on the east side of the state that we've also reached out to just kind of support each other, see where maybe our gaps are. What's something we haven't thought about? How are you supporting, dog health? Or how did you get all their dog food paid for? What's going
Yeah.
on here? So kind of sharing tips and tricks with everybody.
And I was at a school in Ubley, Michigan, and we were planning project-based learning. We were planning out these big projects, and one of the teacher, what she decided to do was have her class do a whole persuasive writing unit, trying to persuade the school district to adopt and to have a support dog. And so that was the project, and their students created all these persuasive speeches, and they collected data and created visuals and found stories, and then they went to a school board meeting and they presented their big pitch with the budget and everything else and the plan that students helped develop with the direction of their teacher. And then I went back to that school 6 months later for a different PD visit, and who greets me at the door but a big black golden doodle.
Oh,
I was like, they did it.
it.
And it's like, so I think that's another thing you can do is if you want this to happen, use your students to help pitch it.
Yes.
Right? Like it's really hard to tell kids that are showing up with data and evidence that this is a worthy cause, no, we're not going to entertain this at all.
Right.
And so, yeah, get parents
good
on
for
board.
them.
Yeah, I know.
That's
How
big.
amazing is that? And then I was in Adrian, Michigan, and they have four support dogs at one high school, just golden retrievers running around everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just the most lovely. And then I'm like leading a PD with the whole district, and there's just dogs laying all over the cafeteria floor. And I'm just like, this is just joy.
It's great. It's joy, and it just brings down the level of stress.
Mm-hmm.
We also recently went to our school board just to celebrate the work that we're doing and share with them about the program. And that really was our bottom line. These dogs are bringing so much joy to students and staff, and just making such a positive impact across the district.
Amazing. Laura, thanks so much for sharing all this. I really think this is helpful for people out there that are thinking about doing this, or maybe they're just nodding along and being like, yep, I love dogs too.
Yeah.
So thanks so much.
Thanks
I
for
appreciate
having
it.
me, Trevor. Yeah.
All right, everybody, thanks so much for listening to this episode. Go dig deeper into all of this. I'll have an article on it and maybe even a video to share more about how you can make programs like this happen in your school and district. Till next time, my name is Trevor, and this is the Epic Classroom Podcast. Have a good one.